Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It truly is possible to get whatever you want in life. I know that's kind of a bold statement. Some people will say, well, really, I've been trying and this is lacking in my life. That's lacking in my life. There's a buzzword that's going around, manifesting what you want, essentially believing it exists or it's coming to you and it will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people it's worked for. It's worked for me in a number of ways. I'll get to that in just a little bit. She's going to help us out with this. She is a Heyoka storyteller, intuitive, life coach, card reader, ace manifestor, all of that. Janis Reed is back with us. Hey, Janis, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Starting off the new year, trying to do a few different manifestings this year. Got my hair cut, changing a few things out. Believe it or not, we cut about 3 feet off. So I'm not stepping on it anymore, and I don't have to sit on it when I sit down. That's a start. Because my hair, for me, is like antennas out into the world. And for a long time, it's been very long. It needed to be long. I wanted it to be long. My husband pitched a fit when I cut it off up to my ears in 2000. He wanted it long. And it's come to my attention that I don't need to manifest long hair anymore. I need to manifest me. So when the lady cutting my hair, asked me about manifesting, of course, I got to thinking about it. Then I gave her some short answer because, I mean, she only worked at me for about an hour and a half. It still needs to be styled. I had a lot of hair. I began realizing a few things, and I got hit in the face with my own pie. I realized that I need to take action on a few things for myself. I'm a very good manifester. If you need something, I can help you manifest it. I can help you understand the processes of having it come to you. Now, like you said, some people don't like what they manifest. Well, that's because they didn't ask the right questions. They didn't prepare. They weren't really savvy to what manifesting was. And I realized I have the perfect thing to share today, how not to manifest.
I'm well aware of that, how not to manifest.
Well,
and
I had the joy and privilege of helping my dear husband transition last year. He was brilliant. His mind was out there with the stars, and that's where he's returned to. But as his wife, I became secondary, and I helped to try to manifest for him his dreams. I spent a lot of energy helping my husband try to manifest sanity as the dementia took him. And for mostly, it worked pretty good until last week. Now, the man's been gone about 3 or 4 months now. And last week, I realized what I had manifested. See, I spent years manifesting for this man so that he would be calm as he did this scary transition he was terrified of. I spent so much time manifesting for him, I stopped working for myself. And I became blind to certain things that were happening with me because I was so intent on helping someone else. I was so intent on helping him get what he wanted that I didn't really pay attention, didn't realize, didn't want to think of what he was manifesting. I was helping him manifest my demise. See, in his dementia, he became extraordinarily jealous of anything I did that was successful. If the toast didn't burn, he'd grump because that was just my luck. It was that little silly things that if I wanted it, he would find a reason for that to be the worst thing in the world. And because I was manifesting for him to be calm and happy, I was incidentally and accidentally manifesting my own pain so that he could be happy. He didn't want me to be successful. He didn't want me talking to you. He didn't want me known by the world. He wanted me to stay in the cave. I like living in the cave and not show myself to the world. And so I hid behind the long hair and my glasses and my husband's fame. And I let myself become less and less and less than in an effort to manifest more and more for him. This is where a lot of people screw up. And it's one of my fortes personally, because I will do for others to the detriment of myself. As I chastised myself about this, I remembered a little conversation, an event that happened. I was about 8, 9 years old. And my grandmother had this little potted plant of pepper outside on her patio. It had the most beautiful little red-orange pepper on it. It was really like 8, 9 years old. I was excited. I mean, that was the tiniest little pepper. They weren't big like the other peppers. And my dad said, well, go ahead, baby. You can bite into one and find out. I said, is it sweet like a sweet? I thought it would be a sweet pepper. It was little red, kind of that shape. And so I bit into it. That was my first time meeting a habanero. My mouth went into flames. My mother yelled at him for days after this. I had blisters in my mouth because I just chomped on it like an apple without any sense at all, seeds and all. I just scalded myself. And my father looked at me when I finally could see straight, and he said, let this be a lesson to you. Don't trust anybody. Never trust another soul, not your mama, not your daddy, not your best friend. Don't ever trust anybody with everything. You always question them. Man, that was a hard lesson. And I realized this past week or two that I still haven't learned it.
I'm going to interject here for a moment.
Please do.
That's a lesson I learned in life, and I learned it later in life.
I'm still learning it, apparently.
And I live by this phrase, and some say it came from Shakespeare. I saw it connected to Bob Marley at one point, but it is.
Are you going to quote my mom? Go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe I am. If it's Shakespeare, it's been around a while. It's love everyone, trust few, always do the right thing. I might paraphrase that a little bit, but the trust thing is trust few. Yeah, I love everybody. You guys are fantastic. I mean, I trust you.
Yeah. Love you to pieces. Don't trust you with my back to you.
Yeah. And do the right thing, and when I say the right thing, I mean the right thing for the greater good, not what's right for me. It's the right thing in general, being fair to others. But yeah, so that's a valuable lesson there in terms of trusting people or not.
Yeah. My mom told me, to thine own self be true. Until I was 14, I thought that was her line. That's what I thought you were going to tell me from Shakespeare. But I haven't been true to myself. I've been trying to be true to my husband. And he hauled off and left me. And because I was trying to give him everything he wanted, he took almost everything from me. And so now I'm in a hole that I've just discovered kind of sort of how deep it is. And it's time for me to go back to my cave, basically, and try this thing again. When we manifest and it works, it's when we have imagined it perfectly so for all parties concerned. I tried to manifest for my husband so that all parties concerned benefited, but I was only concentrating on one party. I forgot about myself. See, this is relationships intimate relationships with other people is my short suit. My brain thinks too deeply. I'm way off in outer space, and it's difficult to have tea with someone and talk about the weather, unless we want to get into the super galactic stuff in outer space. The way that I see things, but I can get distracted because I love someone, because I want somebody else to be happy, because I want that to work for them. I love seeing somebody when they're successful, but I neglect to look at myself. And this is where manifesting, where we can lose. When we don't get what we want, when we do everything possible to try to get to fit into that dress size or those pants, and we don't, and we won't, and we never will, because we're not looking at the whole picture. We're only looking at our waistline. We're not looking at our food habits. We're not looking at our exercise or sleep habits. We just want to fit into a pair of pants, but we don't want to do all of the work to manifest that little waistline. We still want to, kind of sneak in the milkshake now and then. So we shoot ourselves in the foot. Or we want our child to be so successful that we forget there's other kids whose parents also want their child to be successful. So the thing is, everybody has to benefit, or somebody's going to lose. And it's usually the instigator, i.e., me. So for this year, now without my husband, it's going to take me a while to crawl out from underneath the thing I helped him make. But I'm still here. I still have future in front of me. I still can breathe in hope. I can still crawl into the folds of Great Spirit's arms and rest. I have shot myself in both feet, but they still work. I have taken from myself, and yet my bounty is still pretty large. What I concentrate on will manifest. So I've caught myself. I've been concentrating on all this mess he left me with and this deep, dark hole that I may never see the sky from again. And that's what's manifesting, is more and more fear, more and more worry. So I cut that off. I literally cut off a lot of fear, about 3 feet of it. And I'm re-examining what I'm looking at. So instead of looking at all the things that I've lost, I'm looking at what I have. I'm taking action. I can't sit and manifest for myself like I can sit and help you manifest for yourself. I have too much going on. I'm an introvert. I'm a manifester. Yes, I'm a seer, card reader. I've passed all the psychic tests, and I've do psychic work for other psychics because I'm that good. We talk about all sorts of things, me and you, because it's difficult for me to do what I do by talking about myself. I'm too introverted. I want to talk, ask me a question, give me a job. But to sit here and rattle about myself, I'm not quite sure what anybody wants to hear.
But see, we all want to hear because we all have a story, and from other people's stories, we learn. And I wish I talked to you a long time ago, because what I learned, I did similar to what you did.
Mm.
And we have to say that it's our fault.
Oh, we're so common.
It's the truth, though. If we like to think that it's the other person was doing this and this is how I reacted. Well, we had free will and we could have done whatever we wanted. However,
but that's how we reacted, though. Yep.
That's how we and for whatever reason that is, we may have reacted that way because we felt since we were 5 years old that we're not good enough. Mm-hmm. Hypothetical here. And that carried with us for the rest of our lives. So we feel that we always have to overcompensate and take care of other people and do for them so they'll like us, and all of that takes time to figure that out. But it's really ultimately on us. And I think
Gosh, you sound like my shrink.
I'm far from one. But that's how we learn. And what you said before, Janis, is very impactful. like you're taking inventory of your life and being grateful for certain things. Yeah, all right. I shot myself in the foot a couple of times. I could still walk. I'm
Hey,
still
but I
breathing.
missed the main artery, so it's good.
Well, that's something to be grateful for.
It is.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. You talk about manifesting. I know anything about this manifesting thing years ago. Only been studying it in the last couple of years. In a previous relationship, I used to think of myself, my role in this relationship as this.
Ah,
It really wasn't true, but I felt it. So I
that's
would
what I
say it.
did.
I would
Hmm.
say it. And so this is what I feel like. This is all I'm good for. This is what it is. And whether that was true or not, what it eventually came to be was because I was saying it. I was living it, thinking it. Again,
We
might not
talk
have been true.
ourselves into it. Yeah.
We manifest it. We
Manifest it.
created it. We created it. And that's
That's
how I
right.
know manifesting works in reverse engineering because
Hmm.
that's not the way you want it to work, but that's the way it does work. If you believe it, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So today I was wondering, like how am I going to how am I going to talk to you about this? Because as an intuitive person, you'd think that I'd know better. And I did. But I was so busy and caught up in easing his worry that I just let mine become insignificant. And so I was treated as if I was insignificant. And now I'm trying to regain my significance.
You're not trying. You are.
I am. I am.
That's it. And that's the manifesting difference. There's we remove all that language. I hope.
Mm.
No, it's happening. There's
It's
no,
happening. I'm doing it.
it's the truth. And same thing. I've gotten rid of this. Let's say something happens and it wasn't exactly expected. Instead of saying, well, it could have been worse. Right there, you're telling yourself and your subconscious, make it worse, make it worse. No, it was great. Came out, the outcome was all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Several years ago, I caught myself. I have these conversations with God. Um, I'm really shameless. I'm not above shaking my fist and threatening him. I'll come up there.
Be in my car when I'm
Yeah,
driving.
really, really. Um, but I got to do. I want to be of good service for people. This year, I need to be of good service to myself. I'm depleted. I've given away and given away
Yep.
without refilling my own water tub. So this will be the year for me. It's an 8. My card that I was born under, if you wanted to get into, I'm born under the 8 of diamonds. It's the sun card. Supposedly, there's no way I can lose. And having been born under the sign of a fire rooster, well, I'm going to run around without a head. That doesn't matter. I'm still going to shine the world. But I got distracted
Hmm.
away from myself. It's sort of like when you're in the airplane and the masks drop, you're supposed to put it on yourself first and then put it on your kid. There's a reason for that. If you don't have yourself in order, you can't help anybody else. So I feel like I've been a poor servant to the world at large, to the listeners, because I've been concentrating on some other person that's not even in this world. It's interesting to see, to ask, to be of good service to God and remember that I am also her. It's easy to slip my own importance, which is totally opposite of what my husband, his self-importance was the whole world. And the whole world needed to answer to that to him. That was his mindset. He's a Capricorn. He had to be on top of everything. I'm a Cancer. When I get up underneath, we were so totally opposites. But we had karmic, dharmic duty together in this lifetime. We'd been connected more than a dozen times in other life experiences before this one. We had business to tend to, so there was no getting out of our marriage and relationship. Death was going to be the only way out. and he took it, but not before, scrambling some more in our relationship. For some people, relationships are not going to be just the one that you're talking to now, not just between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, just as a gander, you and I have a pretty good rapport. I have a good rapport with Jill. That makes me very suspicious that at some previous life experience, we had a good relationship. We were among people of like mind. Maybe we were neighbors, maybe we never met, but we had similar lifestyles, so that it's easy to get along with you now. I tried to get along once with a lot of ladies that were the wives of extraordinarily wealthy men. I couldn't stand it. They manifested solely for their husbands so that their husbands would give them money. I'm no good at that. I'm no good at standing up and saying, I'm better than you, so therefore you must give me what you have. I can't do that. That's not my nature. So when we manifest, we have to think of our own natures. Really, what's good for me? I mean, I could say I want to be a movie star, but I know that whereas I might make a good movie star, I'm really, really incredibly shy. I like my privacy. I don't want the world to know where my cave is located. They'll all come see.
But you know what? You held
What?
true to yourself because you said you're a Cancer. Cancers typically are very nurturing, very loyal, and that's what you were.
I was.
Mhm.
I was.
Unfortunately, not to yourself. And that's totally understandable. But, we have to also factor in that you're probably an empath. So you feel, for others a
Yeah.
lot stronger than maybe the average person does. But yeah, this I think I'm happy for you that this is the year of the you. For
Ta-da.
you, 2024, it's time to, now chart a different direction and start manifesting it because it will happen for you. Truly believe it.
I believe if I'm full of myself like I ought to be, I'll be a much better servant to other people, be able to be better service for other people. This is something that's worth mentioning in that even the best psychic, the best intuitive person, the most intuitive person you know, we all have a weak spot. Every one of us does, no matter how strong we may be in the world. Every one of us has a weak spot that still needs working on. That's why we were born again, why we're here, what we're supposed to do while we're here. For me to find balance between the crab and the rooster, and then you throw in another, the Indian, I think I'm a woodpecker. So I'm very tenacious. If I put my claws in there, it's not coming out. I got you. So I have to be more careful of what I sink my fingers into, what I sink my teeth into. I need to remember to feed myself first. Novel thing. I've not thought of feeding myself first since I was about 14. And that's a whale of a long time ago. A lot of women do this, men too. We have children, we have lives. We forget who we were intending to become.
Mm-hmm.
We stop manifesting our dreams. We start manifesting someone else's dreams. Our family, our husband, our children, our friends, our cousins and family, and forget ourselves. This year, there's a lot going on, especially in America, especially in the world. People are deciding what they want to manifest for the rest of their lives. Do we want someone to tell us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it? Do we want to relax and just be told what to do, led by a dictator? Or do we want to keep our own finger on our own pulse a little bit longer and choose for ourselves to teach our children how to choose well? Or do we want to just be told? Do we want to reenact the camps? Or do we want to maintain our family of America? What is our intention? What do we want to manifest in the voting?
We're out of time, but you said a word that is so important in manifesting: the intention. What is our intention? What's everybody's intention? If you're going to manifest something, you have to have the intent. What's it going to be? And of course, going back to what you said before, your life, my life, putting up the boundaries. Got to put up boundaries so that you can protect yourself, your heart.
At least know where your edges are.
Well, that too.
We have to know where our own edges are, and I lost mine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are losing theirs by letting somebody else take over for them. Keep your own counsel. In the wise words of some hippie in the 60s, question authority, especially your own.
Yeah. Or those you put authority into. Could be a spouse. Could be a spouse.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Could be a spouse.
Yeah.
But,
if somebody...
That's what I wanted to talk about today, was trying to make excuses for myself to share the excuses with other people, and so that we can see that excuse and avoid it, and just be truthful.
Is it really an excuse? It's more of a lesson. It's life. It's a journey. That's what we're here for. As I understand it, we're here to learn, and that's what we do. So you learned.
Yep. Even us extraordinarily smart people have to learn things. I
learned too. And I think we both learned the same thing. A few of the same things for sure. Trust few. I hate to say it. It's almost like, no, that goes against me, but that is me now.
There's really one person to trust is yourself. But then to trust yourself, you need to explore all of you.
Yes.
Not just what people tell you are. You need to explore self. I need to, you need to, we need to.
Absolutely.
We know ourselves, and we know our relationship in our world, then we can be of good service and do less.
We're out of time. How do we find you?
Come call me up. Email me at goddessjanis2@outlook.com. You can Facebook me, Janis Reed, Goddess in Training. If you're really quick with your pen, you can call me at 276-579-2883. Tell me you're not a marketer, and I'll answer the phone.
And make this the year of you.
Let's make this the year of our own balance.
Yeah.
And quit trying to appease somebody else. We don't need to worry about helping somebody else. That's their job. We got one belly button and one umbilical cord. It is ourselves we must tend to in a happy, healthy manner, which turns out to be pretty beneficial to everyone. Let's manifest some balance this year.
Well said. Janis, love you. Thanks for being here, and happy to be on a journey with you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Love to y'all all. We'll talk to you next time.
We'll be back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.